Hi everyone, my name is Steph, this is the Novelty Corner. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to wrap up my 52 Book Club reading challenge for 2025. It is hosted by the 52 Book Club and it is 52 prompts that you complete over the course of the year. I have a whole set of videos on this. Every time I completed sort of 6 to 8 reading prompts throughout the year, I was creating little videos and updating my reading journal and then posting them. There was one particular prompt that I had to wait until we hit September because it was to read a book in a Burr month. So I had to wait till September, which kind of postponed this last video because pretty much all of the other prompts were done well before then. One, this means I'm talking about a lot of books that I've read in previous months. So my memory is going to be interesting. Also, I have not had the time or the energy to be able to keep up to date with the reading journal. I'm hoping to finish it over the Christmas break. I am going to wrap up this video with the last lot of prompts, so I'm sorry you won't see the journal. If and when I do finish it, even if it's in the new year, I will do a little bit of a flip through for people who are interested in seeing the last couple of pages. The prompts that I'm going to be including in here are the main 52 prompts, which was what I set myself as the challenge to complete. I am also currently up to date with all the mini challenges that we get throughout each month. I'm also about halfway through the Summer Connections challenge, which I'm just going to keep working my way through and finish whenever I finish it. Alrighty, that is a very long intro, so we're going to jump straight into the reviews of the books that I haven't yet talked about for this challenge. So for prompt 7, which was a genre prompt set in the summer. So for this challenge, you had to read a different genre of book for each season of the year. And I chose romance and then went subgenres for different genre. So this one, I went with historical romance. I read A Week to be Wicked by Tessa. I think it's part of the Spindle Cove series. It is about Minerva and Kulin. Minerva is a blue stocking, Kulin is a Viscount. And this is basically a road trip story with the two of them because he is taking her to present at a conference, which she needs someone to go with her because unmarried women and even just women in general would not be presenting at conferences. And a whole lot of shenanigans follow. They pretend to be brother and sister, but they also get mistaken for a married couple, and then they start to fall for one another. Shenanigans ensue. It was fun. It was Tessa. Then for prompt 15, which was a book that includes Latin American history, I read Vampires of El Norte by Isabel Cañas. This one I did listen to as an audiobook, and I've forgotten to grab the audio narrators' names, so I will leave them on the screen. The narrators for this were incredible. Even though it has vampires in the title, it is not so much a vampire story. There are vampires in it, but we don't get a lot of information about the vampires. Really, it is the two main characters, Nina and Nestor, who have known each other their whole lives. Nina comes from a wealthy family and Nestor's family is kind of like the hired help, but they fall for one another and then they're separated after Nina is attacked by a monster and they don't see each other for many years. But then their paths cross again in the future and they end up in each other's company trying to get home while trying to avoid these vampires. Now, it is mostly sort of this forbidden love story between Nina and Nestor. There are vampires in it. As I said, I don't think we get enough vampires for it to be considered a vampire story, but it was really interesting to read a story set in the 1840s. So it was very, very interesting to dive into it, and I would 100% come back to more Isabel Cañas books in the future because I really, really liked her storytelling style. Then prompt number 16 was to read a book by an author who has won an Edgar Award. And for this I went with Alyssa Cole because she not only writes romance, but she also writes in the mystery thriller genre as well. I did not pick up one of her mystery thrillers because I didn't have any on my Kindle, but I did have Once Ghosted, Twice Shy, which is one of her contemporary romances. This is a second chance sapphic romance between Vicozzi and Fabiola, whose paths cross again in New York after they've had kind of this very brief romance and then were separated, and then they come together again and have to decide whether or not to rekindle and pursue a relationship despite the fact that they live very different lives. This story is told with a past and present timeline. We're getting flashbacks to the past when they were together and then the present day storyline as they're reconnecting as well. It wasn't my favorite Alyssa Cole, but it wasn't a bad book by any stretch. Then I read Empty Net by Teagan Hunter. This was for the prompt 22, the found family trope, because it's part of the Seattle Serpents world and the entire hockey team in the Seattle Serpents world is very much a found family, and particularly a lot of the partners are siblings or friends of friends and so on, so you have that really extended found family trope expanding out with every book. This is Fox and Lila's story. I think this is probably one of my favorite books in the Seattle Serpents series. Fox is a professional NHL goalie and he enters into a fake engagement with Lila for reasons, and it is very much a friends to lovers kind of story because they do know of each other, they get along with one another, and this fake engagement helps both of them out. And Fox is just one of my favorite characters on the team. He's such a golden retriever. He's a really fun character to read about. So I'm glad that I have read that and I'm up to date with the Seattle Serpents, because I do love Teagan Hunter's hockey romances. Then for 27, to read a book with a magician. I went through a couple of books for this and none of them were quite magician-like, and in the end I went back to a Kate Daniels book because there is at least one magician-ish / wizard, which I'm counting under the same umbrella, in the books. And I went with Magic Claims, which is the second book in the Kate Daniels Wilmington Years series. I was re-listening to the audiobook. I particularly picked this one because I know that Luther features in this. Luther is a self-proclaimed wizard. He works for basically the science arm of the magical police in the Kate Daniels world. I've just mentally blanked on the name of the organization. And he is very gruff, very sarcastic. He likes to push Kate's buttons and is a delightful character. So Magic Claims, as I said, is part of the spin-off of the Kate Daniels world. Kate and Curran have moved. Kate is trying to stay off the land that she claimed, and she's trying to get out of the land claiming business, but she and Curran kind of can't help being who they are. And so they keep gathering, collecting people who they've helped because people come to them for help. And in this case, they are approached by a family who have family in a town that is under siege from a strange, ancient, magical force. This force demands human sacrifices, and Kate and Curran really can't walk away from that. They're like, at their core, they are good people who cannot see to stand other people being hurt or subjugated by others for magical reasons, and so they can't help but get involved. Luther's involvement in this in terms of the magician / wizard is that at the very end, they discover some things about ancient magic that has been attacking this village, and then when they go to this stronghold of this place, they find a lot of magical artifacts. And there is nothing that Luther likes more than a magical artifact. So I'm hopeful, actually, that whenever we get a future Kate Daniels book set in this world, that probably Luther's going to be part of it more, because, I mean, I love all of the side characters in Kate Daniels, but Luther is one who would be really cool to get some more stories about, because the way that he and Kate interact, it's very sibling-like, and I kind of love it. All right, then for Prompt 30, which was to read a book in the public domain, I read Winnie the Pooh, and I listened to the audiobook for it, which was just delightful. I mean, Winnie the Pooh is a classic by A.A. Milne. And I've never really read the books. I've read books with quotes from the stories, but not actually the stories themselves. So that was very, very interesting to go back to that and read what is, a children's classic. But it is interesting reading it as an adult, because you do definitely pick up on the things that were going on in Winnie the Pooh as an adult. And then finally for Prompt 46 was to read a book in a Burr month, so September, October, November, December. I went with The Bones Beneath My Skin by T.J. Klune, which I've just realized I talked about in my wrap-up, forgetting that it was going to be in this video because I'm trying not to overlap too much on double handling with books. This is the re-release that's been traditionally published, beautiful sprayed edges. It is the story of Nate, whose parents have passed away. He's inherited this old cabin. His life is not kind of going the way that he wants to go, so he's going away to this cabin that he remembers visiting as a kid. But when he gets there, he finds that there are two people currently living in the cabin squatting, and their names are Alex and Artemis Darth Vader. Alex is a former soldier who is clearly protecting Artemis, who is a young girl, and Nate is not sure what to make of them. He figures that Alex is quite dangerous, and he many times is like, I just need to leave, I need to report this, except something keeps drawing him back. And mostly it's Artemis who he begins to develop a strong connection with, and he discovers that they are on the run from a government agency who are experimenting on Artemis. He goes on the run with them, and it is them in very close force proximity. It is an MM romance between Nate and Alex. It's also uncovering the secret of Artemis, who is not what she seems. The whole thing is just so interesting. It is very much a science fiction story set on Earth. You have everything from car chases, hiding, to all our characters ending up in a death cult, which is wild. Like, it's just a very, very interesting book. It's probably one that I will keep coming back to. It's one that I actually, aside from Heartsong, that I have the most vivid memories of reading for the first time. And that is it. That is every book on the main 52 Book Club challenge. As always, the playlist will be linked on the screen and down below, so if you want to see what I read for all the other challenges, you absolutely can. This was fun. I am going to continue to complete the monthly mini challenges, and I don't know, maybe if people are interested at the end of the year, I will do a little bit of a roundup of what I included for those challenges. Those ones I'm less concerned about doubling up on prompts for other things that I'm reading, so that's why I haven't done them as separate reviews, because I'm just kind of, as I'm reading things and they fit prompts, I'm allocating them. But if people want to know what I'm using for which challenge prompt, I'm more than happy to do a video at the end of the year. I hope that wherever you are in the world, just staying safe and healthy, and I'll see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye everyone.